Well, hello everyone. Matt here at Northern Outlier, and I am finally back. It's been a hectic few months. As I mentioned in my last video, my wife and I were expecting our first child, and I am happy to announce that we had a beautiful baby boy on March 1st. So I've just been taking the time, focusing on being a dad, and just enjoying every moment with my son. So I've finally been able to get into a little bit of a routine lately and do a little bit of editing in my spare time, which is very limited. On today's episode though, we are going to be looking at air sealing and trim work within the garage. The trim work was a little bit unexpected, but I had to pull it in order to do some air sealing and do a very thorough job. I shot this back in the fall of 2024, and I must say over the winter I noticed a huge difference in terms of the temperature in here. So going to the lengths I did in this video was well worth it. It is very time-consuming work, but requires relatively little materials. All I used was a basic sealant to go along the bottom of the sill plate where it meets the concrete, and then use spray foam for the bigger gaps, especially around the doors and the windows. I will put a link down below for the products that I used to do the air sealing. One last thing before we jump into the video, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who watches, likes, and subscribes. As of posting this, I have just gone over 1,000 subscribers, so thank you very much. It keeps me going, it keeps me motivated, and it really helps out the channel. I really appreciate it. If you're watching for the first time, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, stay tuned and enjoy. That first footage you saw me going along and sealing that kind of bottom edge, and I've done that now on 2 out of 3 of the walls. When I started working on this just recently, I noticed a few issues I guess I came across, so I ended up pulling the trim on both the doors, which I'll show you here in a second, which was good because there was lots of gaps around both doors that I had to fill with spray foam. So I pulled the trim, and I also noticed a bit of rot on the sill plates in this back corner here behind me, right on both sides of the door. And I'll show that here in a second, but essentially I've gone and I've kind of cut out some of the rot, and I'm going to put in some new pressure treated pieces just under the king studs along both sides of the door, just for a little bit of extra support. Obviously I don't want them just sitting there with nothing underneath, so cut out a bit of rot. That was a bit of a process. I had to pull the OSB. They're held in with these staples from a pneumatic stapler. Real pain in the butt to get out. Pried that all off, got out the old rot. About to put in new pressure treated pieces, and I've spray foamed around both the doors, done a bit more silicone or sealant around the windows as well. Going a little bit more in depth than I thought I normally would, but we're back at it, we're working on it, and we're gonna finish this up. So I'll show you here right now kind of what I'm dealing with in this back corner. So this has kind of been the worst section of the entire garage. When I did that first bit of sealant, I got to where the trim was, and then I couldn't really get the sealant in around the trim. So that was kind of my decision to pull the trim, and there was big gaps around the entire door, so you can see where I've gone and spray foamed. Had to spray foam and fill all those gaps. There was quite a bit of draft coming in, so filled all that. I'm basically ready to put the trim back on the door. You can see the rot too. I'll show some close-ups. So found the rot on either side of the door. Honestly don't know how it got like that, because it's very much the same on both sides of the door. There was water coming under here, so my theory was that there was enough water coming in that it was getting wicked up, maybe through that pressure treated piece of wood on the bottom, and just gets sucked up into the sill plate. I used a chisel and my oscillating multi-tool, cut out some of that. So now I'm ready to put some pieces back in. So I've switched over to the other door. I'm going to start putting the trim back in place, and then I might do some more caulking. So as soon as I put that up and step back, I realized it wasn't level. The header is way off. Well, not way off, but it's off. So basically I'm going to assemble it, I think, like it is here. So I'll put some nails in those two, slide the whole thing in, and then nail it in. I think I just need to nail it into the sides. I've never done trim before, so I don't know if there's an easier way to do this, but kind of just tack that up. I'm going to do this side, I think, now, and then go back and finish putting that piece on, just to make sure everything lines up. So that trim went up pretty good. Now that that's done, I might grab a tube of caulking and just kind of go around. I got to finish off caulking the one window, and then I'm going to go around the doors near the bottom. And then also this wall here. I was a little stingy the first time I went and sealed it, so and, we'll get back to the trim. So while the caulking's drying, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put the OSB back in place. Cut a piece here. I'm using screws, just short little 1.25 inch screws. They use staples. I'm definitely not using staples, so. So it's another day. I'm putting all the trim back in place, so I've gone and I've rebuilt the trim for this door because of that water damage. So I've got it together. Now it's a matter of just nailing it into place, so I might have to use shims along this side just to make it level. Using 18 gauge nails, brad nailer. We'll get this in place and then we'll put that outside trim on. From what I recall, it was tight at the top, so I think I'm gonna just get it nailed in, and then I'll go down with the level and use shims and kind of try to level it out as much as possible. So I don't really have any more shims, but I think I'm just gonna like put some nails in as I watch the level, make sure this is level, and then do this side. Or I'll do this top corner, I don't know, I'm gonna figure this out. Pretty good. So now that we got that trim installed, we'll go ahead and we'll put this trim back up. We're using the same top piece, and I've cut 2 fresh pieces for the sides, so we'll do that now. That should be a little bit easier. I'm just going to put one in the middle, and then we'll get this side piece on. Okay, so I got all the trim done on this wall and this back wall in terms of windows and the doors. So that's all done. Now I just need to go along the bottom and put those like baseboard trims back in place and replace a few. There's some that are pretty rotten. I had a lot of water damage, so I'm just going to replace those. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. We'll get those in place on these two walls, and then I'll probably try to clean up in here because I don't know. I'll take a spin around. It's a disaster in here, to say the least. So stuff everywhere. So yeah, I'm gonna probably clean up after I get these two walls done and get a little bit more organized, and then we'll tackle the final wall. So when putting the board back on, obviously the floor is not level, especially this back wall. There's missing concrete. I put a level on top. It's not perfect, but it's not going to be perfect. So I'm just kind of putting the boards back up. Obviously you can see there's a pretty big gap here. I don't know how to make that any better. Those ends I wanted to line up obviously at the same height. This end could be lower, but then it would be higher on that end, so it is what it is. So anyways, this back wall, it doesn't look the greatest. Again, yeah, the boards, it's not level, but the floor is not level. I'm gonna have workbenches along this back wall, so you won't even be able to see that. I should have probably put the old board up to see how it fit. It's not gonna be perfect. So this is a very tough job for me because I have OCD, so it's a little bit difficult trying to do this, but it'll be fine. So this is the last board on these two walls, and you have no idea how great that's going to be when that's done. So I'm going to kind of clean up and organize a little bit. Okay, so I got that last board up. So all the trim's up on these two walls. I'm going to start organizing it because it's just chaos in here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm moving this black cabinet. I'm going to move it to this back corner here. That's kind of been the plan. And then that frees up this wall. So this wall is actually where I'm putting a 48-inch TV on the wall. That might be the next thing. So move this black cabinet, fill it up with stuff. Okay, so I got that black cabinet moved. I am beat. That is everything I've got for this episode. So we got the two walls done, all the trim's back. I'm gonna do a little bit of cleanup. It's pretty chaotic in here still. Next episode, we'll get to that last wall. We'll get that finished up and then we'll really start organizing this garage. So anyways, guys, I hope you liked this episode. Make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe down below if you haven't already. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time. Thank you.